eating it up. And I just can't get enough of you. Life slow, me bubbling. Moving your waist if you want, come trouble it. And when times get troubling, I need a man who on top of things. Stick to the program for you. You don't see anything, everything I'll do for you. So let me show them we grown up. I'm a big girl now. So let we take a drink of the rum. We grown up, give me that walk. Party till the sun comes up. We grown up, I'm a big girl now. So let we take a drink on the rock. We grown up, we grown up. Nobody can say stop. Oh, young and we party hard. You see that wine? I love it too bad. Young and we party hard. So if you want
The island breeze, cool them vibes. Coconut jelly, peas and rice. House and land, now we sharp like a knife. Green in abundance, real love around me, yeah. You want to know where we coming from? Say you want come look for me, yeah. If you're willing to have some fun, I go keep you company. Move that way, come girl, blunder right by me. Squeeze her tight, make it trip down there. Neighbor, oh, yes, you kindly. Miss Jolene, oh, your mango sweet, so Jolene, oh, your mango sweet. Tell me how it ripe and sweet, so Jolene, oh, your mango sweet. It's been a while, yeah. Oh, yeah. Since we built the vibe, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, yo, so let me build it. Y'all grind fine like chili, baby. Real thing start, I no time for no gimmicks. Good vibes only, keep that around me, keep that around me. Let me build it. Move that waist one time skillfully. Y'all know you look so fine naturally. Real vibes only, keep that around me. Watch how the vibes and sweet, cool and nice. Whole thing set up, peace on my mind. Roll that thing and we take flight. Trees in abundance, see it all around me, yeah. So let we jam with the heart and love. All our we is family, yeah. It's all long on the ground, girl. You know that this is the season, baby. See that it? Nothing sweeter, girl, know it. Cocoa stone, girl, I go pick. Neighbor, oh, you ask you kindly. Miss Jolene, Jolene. Tell me how the ripe and sweet, so Lord, it's been a while, yeah. Oh, yeah. When you're giving up, yeah.
You see your best mind up in your chest. You wanna link, call me, I'm the best. Every girl walk out to the fest, and every girl them dressed to impress. See my team, we don't really waste time. You come back, cause you know a real vibe. You wanna taste this one more time. Girl, let we start it. So call out the bridal party. We gon' make all the residents happy. Bartender, make it snappy. Put the queen in front of the king like Wappy. On the road like whoa, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Run the drinks like whoa, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We wanna drink and party all day. No bad weather stop we, no way. We are the life of the party, you know this. Live your life how you want it, okay. All day say we out and bad. All day say we drink out the bar. All day cause we life done hard. All day we go party. All day and every night in the bed. The best way to release your stress. No drinks cause we ain't done yet. All day we go party.
Cool 1069.
Oh man, it's Monday morning to you. Wow. Wow. It's one of those kind of Monday mornings where you just wanna not move. You know? But you gotta do what you gotta do. So we're here this morning. Let me remind you, we got a special guest coming in this morning. He's already in the building, and he will be coming into studio, joining us in studio at around 7:10 or so. That's Mr. Elroy Boucher, the president of the Public Service Union. The fiery Elroy Boucher will be in studio. Passionate Elroy Boucher will be in studio with us this morning. Shady, how was your weekend?
The weekend was great.
Yeah?
It was good.
Man.
It was good, can't complain. I eat some
lobster, conch and thing. You had some what?
I can't say it on air. Why you get in trouble?
Okay.
If you're not talking about it.
I don't know.
And I get your stuff, but they ain't clean yet.
You
so
got your stuff.
I got your stuff.
You
but I
got
ain't
my
clean
stuff.
yet.
You got the stuff. You
Yeah,
got this.
I get the
You-
package. I get the
Apostle, you hear him? You hear him? So it went from not being able to get here to it's here, but it ain't clean yet.
Yeah.
Apostle, you hear him? So we'll
Reach.
keep waiting, Apostle. That's the Apostle Cuban Cutlass Stephen Joachim. Well, I had one of those weekends that I don't want to have again in a long time. My weekend wasn't the best. It was quite horrible. My weekend. It wasn't a good weekend at all. You know, my son got into an accident on Friday night.
Yeah, I passed.
You saw him?
I didn't saw him, but I passed the accident.
So how you know that was him?
Don't worry about that. He's a celebrity. You could send them to
Yeah, but
or
you
your
saw my
family.
son in an accident. You didn't circle back to
I
it.
didn't know at the time.
Okay, right. Yeah, and that was a horrible, you know, that set the pace for the entire weekend, you know. So it just sucked everything out of the weekend, because after that you gotta go this, you gotta go here, you gotta go to the hospital, you gotta go to the police, you know. It just, you know. When you have good friends like Chambers, good morning to you, Grant Connell, Grant Connell Chambers. Thank you very much, buddy. You know, he accompanied us to the police station yesterday. So thank you very much for that, Grant. But let me just remind you, I think we should bring in our guest now. No, let me just remind you about a few things. Have you been looking for a place to get your manicures, pedicures, and waxing service done? Check out Beautyolics, located in Camden Park, opposite the Bureau Standard Building on the basketball court stretch. They offer gel structured manicures, gel extension manicures, gel pedicures, spa pedicures, regular pedicures, body waxing, which includes full facial, armpits, genitals, and legs, eyebrow shaping, eyebrow waxing, and tinting. They offer these services at an affordable cost that can fit into your budget. Book your appointment today on Facebook or on Instagram at Beautyolics, or you can contact them by the phone at 527-2033. That's 527-2033. Their service are strictly professional, right? And relaxed and conducted by highly trained and certified professional. Try them today. You won't regret it. They're looking forward to serving you in an area of your service you select. They can't wait to get you to work on you. It's Beautyolics. Yeah, man. They're definitely there to serve you and are waiting to serve you. Visit the Health Bar today, #1 source of premium supplement and vitamins, gym accessories, gluten-free and healthy food, and delicious smoothies. This month they continue as they join the world in celebrating International Women's Day from March 8th from now through to the 18th, which is past already. Women enjoy 5% off all items. Well, let us go on to that, so necessary. All right. The Health Bar is also the home of Smoothie Juice Bar in Kingston, where you can grab your healthy smoothie, protein bar, coffee, and juice. I can do it one of those pick-me-up coffees now. Anybody out there, please, pick me up coffee now, please. Anybody, somebody, please. God will bless you. A coffee, I could do it one right now, you know. So check out the Health Bar. You can call them at 432-5841, or you can email them at thehealthbarsvg@gmail.com, or you can check them out on Instagram. Follow them on Instagram at thehealthbar_SVG. The Health Bar for a healthier you. Should we get some ads lined up now? No. In the meantime, we have this going. All right. We got Mr. Elroy Boucher. He's standing by outside to join us in studio. He will be with us for the most of the morning, Mr. Boucher, President of the Public Service Union. He's already in the building. All right. 2023, the Credit Union KCCU scholarship application for CPEA is now available for applicants. Application is open to all members of the Kingston Cooperative Credit Union Limited. for this year Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment. Forms are available at KCCU offices nationwide and online at www.kingstonCreditUnion.com. The completed application form must be returned to any KCCU branch on or before the 4th of April 2023, along with a copy of your child's birth certificate, letter of conduct from the school, or parent legal guardian identification. For more information, you can call them at 457-2409. That's 457-2409. Or you can drop them an email at info@kccusvg.com. That's info@kccusvg.com. Apply now. KCCU terms and conditions do apply. We're gonna take a quick message. Yeah. When we come back, we're gonna get into Mr. Boucher, yeah, right here on OMG Monday Morning Edition for you. All right, we bring him out inside, but let's take a quick break and come right back.
District Stairs is celebrating Heritage Month.
That's what you should do. You see these signs, do what's right. Put a stop to child abuse. See, suspect, say. Among friends and families, a message from the Child Development Division within the Ministry of National Mobilization in collaboration with UNICEF.
The Patriot Company Limited.
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metrosint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts of motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, you know. I purchased 2 bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon, this is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Alive tomorrow. This message is brought to you by AKT Motorcycles, available at courts.
General Hardware.
Discover new Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste. New Guinness Smooth.
General
Oh, 1 mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer. Night breezes seem to whisper
to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more. We've got you covered. Our profession.
Oh, 1 mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer. Night breezes seem to whisper.
Spectacular shows on Sunday, April 8th at 6 p.m. Then on Sunday, April 9th, also at 6 p.m. And on Monday, April 10th, get ready for 2 massive shows. Starting time 5 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Featuring the world's famous circus performers. Come and enjoy great family entertainment with clowns, magicians, acrobats, and much, much more. It's the Awesome Family Circus, sponsored by Vitamol, the NLA, in collaboration with Easy Bake, Island Sips, Coca-Cola, Digicel, and Ticket Pal.
What? The Unity Labour Party is celebrating 22 years in government with the biggest rally and the biggest 2023. One this Sunday, March 26th from 5:30 p.m. We're at the E.T. Joshua Runway, North End, Honnesville. Who's coming? Just about everybody. With big speakers like Curtis King, Keisal Peters, Camilo Saboto, and Comrade Ralphie. How will we get there? By car, van, truck, bike, boat, plane, donkey, spaceship. Transportation is free. And why? Because greatness must be celebrated. Keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning. And we party with the biggest stars. Hyper 4000, Sonny Banks, Chanel McKenzie, Rollo, Joanna, DJ Eminem, and DJ Donovan with the Fireman Hooper.
Fire, we want the whole place smash up as we waiting on you.
Gabby out of Barbados, Logic from Trinidad, and Nyla Blackman and Skinny Fabulous together for the first time in SVG. Oh, and one final thing, we're wearing red.
1069. Come on. SVG's number one.
Hey, don't know.
Spread your wings. Nothing is impossible, believe. If I can do it, you can spread your wings. Nothing is impossible. If I can do it, you can spread your wings. Blessing off a flow like a river. 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 Dapper them for know some man a leader. Shatter them ready man a leader. Blessing off a flow like a river. Turn them back and we turn them in a believer.
The evolution of radio. Boom 1069.
We got inside Mr. Boucher. Finally inside the studios of 106.9. Good morning to you, Mr. Boucher. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Bing. Good morning to the Boom family. Good morning to all the listeners tuning at this particular time. Good morning, especially to the victorious public servants, teachers, policemen, nurses, all of you.
Wow.
Good morning.
Special good morning to them from you.
Yes.
How did you feel when you got the news of the verdict handed down by the judge?
Bing, I actually cried. I cried because I was listening. I was in the virtual court and you know, my heart was in my hand. I wasn't affected, but my heart was in my hand when the judge was about to give the ruling. And as she rolled out point after point in favor of the workers, I was totally overwhelmed. Totally. And it's a feeling of joy, of relief. And I really thought that was the end of their suffering. God had spoken. And people have been praying about this thing for so long. And I firmly believe, I've said so before, I firmly believe this was not matter of the union secularly fighting against what the state did. This was a spiritual battle. We were fighting the evil that was contained within this act was out of, I couldn't even imagine how that was possible for any government to do. So we had to pray really hard that God has give a clarity of thought to the judge and a clarity of thought to our lawyers so that the best arguments can actually be done. You understand? So this was really a victory, and it's lots of joy. It really is lots of joy, was lots of joy, until we have this caveat, of course.
But before we get to the caveat, after you heard the news, what was the first thing you did after that? What did you do?
Well, I jumped. We made some calls, and people were actually calling, messaging, because they themselves were totally overjoyed, and shouting, we won, praises to God, etc., etc. All across the country, your phone went off the hook with messages and everything. Social media was literally lit up with this judgment. That is how people were waiting patiently for this particular day. And they waited a long time for this judgment. The people were saying it is taking too long. And we're getting quite impatient. But when it came, when it was delivered, it was worth the wait.
All right. After the judgment came, of course, you had all the talking in between, the response from the Prime Minister who said that they're going to appeal the position. What did you think when you heard the Prime Minister's statement on the ruling?
I was taken aback. You don't have the fullness of the ruling itself. So, what is it that they really are going to appeal? And the first thing that came to my mind, he is determined to make sure that these people, these workers, these hard-working public servants suffer and suffer longer. If you give him the opportunity, he will make them suffer as long as possible. There's no other explanation. Absolutely none. Because what are you appealing on? You can't say because you don't have the written ruling. So what is it that you're really appealing on? And if you were to examine the ruling itself, even if there was an issue with the ruling regarding the minister's ability to whether him making laws was unconstitutional, the fact that there's a lack of natural justice, she ruled on that. That's a fact. That's an undisputed fact. The simple fact that the Public Service Commission is an independent body and was designed by the framework of the Constitution to insulate the public service from the political directorate. But the minister reached across, and what the commission did, a rubber stamp, that was ruled on. That was why that was also ruled unlawful, because they ceded their authority, and the Constitution is quite clear, Section 77. They cannot cede their authority, especially to politicians. But they did. And we knew that from the beginning that was going to be a major issue. You don't write and tell me how I am to be fired. That is contained within the public service regulations. But a minister made those rules. So clearly, that had to be illegal. And she ruled on all of that. So even if you was to say, okay, well, hey, give you the part with the minister making the laws, and she specifically ruled on 8.1 and 8.2, which speaks to how they were being fired. The fact that this firing was illegal and it can't be argued against. You know, Asaf talk about thing for the region and how it impact. He would never talk about how the people were fired. He never will address those issues because there's no argument there. And once these dismissal were deemed illegal, then the people never ceased to hold their offices. It is that simple. So whether you appeal or not, I guarantee that particular section will never be overturned. So what are you appealing? Implement the ruling. It's not going to affect that. You're going to have to give them back their job and all their benefits because they were not given a hearing. Nobody give people an opportunity to be heard. I mean, big. Nowhere in the Caribbean this ever happened, no.
So you against the fact that the government has said that they're going to appeal the ruling, and
it's morally wrong.
But is it legally wrong?
It's not, but it's morally wrong.
So it's legally.
It's legally. Of course, they have a right to appeal.
It's legally right,
but it's morally wrong.
Okay.
Bing, a government that is people-centered, and Conrad always, and I'm calling him because he's my friend. He always talk about his government is a labor government. Labor means the working class.
Right.
His government is a people-centered government. A people-centered government will listen to the people.
Right.
The amendment of the Public Health Act was unpopular. The people were against it, but he went ahead. They brought the SRNO. It was unpopular. The people were against it, but he went ahead. It was a people-centered government. You want to appeal this, the people are against it. The majority, I comb Facebook, and 90-something% of the people talking about this is, why is he appealing? It is time to bring this to an end. Imagine, government start making the decision to take people back to work, So if you already made the decision,
who government? Which sector of the government made the decision?
And the person making the pronouncement is the Prime Minister. We wrote the Prime Minister with respect to public servants, but previously to that, he had made the comment regarding teachers that they can reapply. Subsequently, that was done with respect to the other public servants. And the cabinet say, well, if the post is still vacant, they can reapply and they will get back their job. But you already started doing that. So the judge ruled that they never cease to be public officers. So if they already start doing that and some of them done gone back, what is the issue? So is the issue the payments of unpaid salaries and damages? Is that the issue? The cost? How many millions it is going to amount to? Is really that the issue? Because it can't be that you have an issue with people going back to work because you already taken them back. So why are you appealing? Is it your ego? Or are you trying to fly in the face of a court judgment because you have the power to do that? Listen, it's 9 politicians, who wreaking havoc on workers' lives, 9, And you have a country of some 40,000 employees, 6,000 public servants or so. 9 politicians wreaking havoc on people's lives as if they really don't care. They don't even have a heart. How could they do that? What are they really appealing? Listen, Bing, I watch a woman bawl. Because you know that we give the directive for them to go back to their work because the court ruled. There's no stay on the judgment. So if there's no stay, that is the law of the land. People went back and they were told the Attorney General have directed that. I don't know how the Attorney General became involved because he can't hire and he can't fire. The spineless members of the board of the commission, they are the ones who have the responsibility under the law, the constitution, to hire, fire, and discipline.
But Mr. Boucher, why after the ruling came down, and why before the decision was made to tell workers to go back to work, you didn't reach out to the Public Service Union or even meet with the Public Service Union to discuss Public Service Commission to discuss the details of workers going back to work?
Because there is no need to. In any court, if you carry a matter to court, there's no need to.
Not to get permission, but to discuss the matter, because you would agree with me, as was said before, that in the absence of teachers and public servants, that more persons were brought on into the service.
And whose fault is that?
Right? No, but so teachers and other public servants going back, they may not necessarily get the exact position that they would have left in. So why not reach out to the Public Service Commission to discuss the matter for?
Because I don't think that it is our responsibility to so do. From my understanding of judgments. It is handed down, and the judge directed the Public Service Commission, the Police Service Commissioner, and the Commissioner of Police to make all outstanding payments and show that these people get what is due them. The mere fact that she said that the public servants, the workers, never cease to be public officers means that they are still public servants. They still hold their position. Now, if the government is to say, we have a problem here, we have a predicament, because we started hiring, and I kept saying, there's a judgment. Why are they going ahead and doing this? When if the court rule in favor of the workers, they have to return to work. So you are creating a problem. You the one created the problem. You know? The people who suffered for 14 months ain't create a problem. Some of them nearly lose their home. They can't feed their children. They went rock bottom. The health, all thing affected. They didn't create this problem. You and your arrogance create the problem. And now that you have created the problem, it is for you to fix it, because remember, we ask for you not to do this. But you decide, you and your cabinet of ministers decide that you have the power to do whatever you want to do. So you did it. The general public, the country, beg you not to go this way. The uptake of vaccine in the country is 28%. 28%. Now, clearly, I am against vaccination only because even before they bring mandate, I don't go and deal with that. You understand? But it's 28%. That tells you that the country overwhelmingly did not want to go in that direction, or even be forced in that direction. Okay? Voluntarily, they didn't do it. So you force them. Those which will crap in numbers. So if you take off that, you might have something like 20% of people who voluntarily went. The rest were forced. That is a signal that the country did not want this to happen, especially you're forcing it on them. You created the problem. You didn't listen to anybody. Now, if you think that the positions have been blocked, this is for you to have a discussion with the union and see how we could sort it out. Your job, the court have ruled, is implementation of the judgment. The judgment must be applied, right? Have a discussion. In fact, I think the government should have really, when I say the government, I'm talking about the cabinet of ministers, because they are the ones who made all of these bad decisions. Apologize to the people and apologize to the country. It was a bad decision. It was a wicked decision. There's nothing that says that you cannot come and say that you are sorry, you erred. Because the court have shown that you have erred. And some of these rulings within this judgment would never be overturned, because they are in my mind, they are very basic. I'm no lawyer, but when I look at them, they are very basic. As I said to you, I would not argue the part where it says the minister made the laws and that is unconstitutional. That is for the lawyers them to deal with. The basic things like natural justice, like the overreach of the minister to fire public servants. Those are the things I would look at, because those are the things that we are more familiar and have the experience with, that those things must not happen. But it happened.
What would have been the ideal situation for you the morning after the ruling? Ideally, how would you have liked to see it function in the grand scheme of things, in terms of how the public service work and police service? What did you expect to see happen that would have been a smooth operation?
The ideal thing would have been for all of these entities to call a meeting with the unions. Call a meeting with the Police Welfare Association, the Teachers Union, and the Public Service Union. The Commission, call that meeting, because it lies with the Commission, the two commissions, Police Service Commission and Public Service Commission. The Commission of Police for those who are rank officers. Call a meeting. You have an issue, lay it on the table. Because we then would have seen that you want to obey what the courts say. Right? You may have cases, for example, if somebody's a head teacher, you don't fill the post. but you can't demote the person.
Right.
So, I mean, if to say there is a compromise, it may have been, well, they have to maintain their position, their salaried position. So whether it's a lateral position or you have them there with their same salary, no loss in benefits, people might have said, okay, given the situation, we are back on the job, we haven't lost anything. It may just be an issue of a physical position. We can compromise on that for the time being. You understand? Now, there are other people might say they are not because you want to have the full effect of the court's decision. But there are people who might have said that. Police, the arm same, and in public service, the arm same, we have people at customs. I don't know if their positions have been filled, but the same thing can be said. What the problem the government is going to have is you have persons, if you hire persons permanently, then you have more persons theoretically than you actually need. Now that is their, let's say, as I've said, they have created that problem.
That's their problem to fix.
That is their problem. But the workers, as far as they are concerned, is to go back to work because they never cease to hold their position. They are public officers. There is no need to continue to punish them. They have not done anything wrong. And the interesting thing is, the longer they wait, the more money the state have to pay out. Because the people at home, they're not productive now within the public service and they have to get a salary. So hey, if you keep them out another 3 months, say you want to appeal and we can't force you to drop the appeal, because we're going to try and force you. If we can't force you to, or perhaps I should use a kinder word, we're going to try and influence you to drop the appeal, then they're home 3, 4, 5 months, it's more money. So if the $10 million that you see before you is too much, imagine 6 months down the road. If you can't pay it now, you can pay it down the road. Bring them back now, let them be productive contributors to the development of the country and in service to the public. The teachers are needed. Everybody is actually needed. The nurses are needed.
How do you plan on, according to you, not force, but influence the government's hand on this?
We're going to have a series of industrial action. And industrial action is a last resort. But we have seen...
But you've not held discussion yet with the Public Service Union or the government. Let's just say you've not held a discussion. So it's a last resort, but it's the first thing.
It's going to be used now, yes.
It's the first thing that you use.
Yeah, because the first thing that they did is to publicly state that they're going to appeal.
Right.
and it's frivolous as far as I'm concerned. It's their right, but as I have said, it is morally wrong. And it's public servants, Vincentians should have a feeling of righteous indignation. When things are morally wrong, we have to rise up against it. So there's going to be a picket. We are going to make every attempt to get the entire public to support us at some point. We are starting now. This matter doesn't just
now. Like what is it? You starting
today,
now?
Monday at 12, in front of the financial complex. We're gonna try and reach out to organizations because when this was happening, we also had meetings with the Christian Council, etc., etc. And like I say, in my mind, the Christian community should be outraged with the position of the Cabinet of Ministers to appeal this. They should be. People have suffered enough. You're going to try and get all of those persons. There are some 500 persons initially that were fired. There are persons who were forced to be vaccinated under an unconstitutional law. And people just need to let that rest with their minds, because I know there are persons who literally bawl. They didn't want to, but they could not suffer the financial and economic crisis that would ensue in their lives. Some people were brave enough to stand and the others could not do that. And I tell them, if I were in that position, I don't know if I would have been brave enough to do what some of the others did in standing up. I'm at a cave in because of the implications for the financial losses and destruction. They were forced to be vaccinated. And now we are discovering that the law itself is unconstitutional. That is pretty huge. So all of those persons, we are going to reach out to them to come out in support. This thing should be brought to a close. Listen, the government of Grenada, when the unions took the government to court on the pension issue, and that was causing the government of Grenada close to $500 million. The then Keith Mitchell government say, while they have the right to appeal, they will not. That was the proper thing to do. That was the moral thing to do. Okay? This government is taking a different view of it. And they've always been taking these anti-union, anti-worker view within the Caribbean. The only government who have done... Antigua didn't fire the workers, They followed them. They were home for like what? 3 months. 3 months. Then they dropped whatever they had. And the workers went back to work. The only issue they had was to agitate for the 3-month salary. And I don't remember what exactly happened with that. But they didn't fire them.
Let's talk about the event that you've got planned for today to try and force the government hand. All right? What if in this activity today, this picketing today, you don't get a good turnout? Not that turnout matters in these things, but there's strength in numbers. What if you don't get that, not the numbers that you're hoping to get today?
It's a build-up.
Oh, so it's not just one event?
No, it's not going to be one event. We are now starting, and this is the first activity. This is the first event. There are going to be many more. Bing, I am telling you, our objective is to have a strike across the country, across the public service.
You want to shut down?
Yes.
You want to shut down the country, basically?
We want to shut down the public service. If you could get the van drivers on board, because all of them were harassed over this whole vaccine thing there.
Right.
If we can get a country shut down, that is our best bet. That is what we are aiming at, right? For the essential workers, we know that we have to give at least two weeks notice to the Governor General. We intend to do that. So it is not going to be any activity in the short term. Okay. It is long term. As long as the government...
long haul. You need for the long haul.
We are right. As long as the government maintains that they're going to appeal, and from my understanding, based on what the lawyers have said, I think something was actually filed. That is going to happen. I do not believe that they will get a stay of judgment. They have to apply for that. But I do not believe, given what I've seen in the ruling and the impact on people's lives, that I doubt will be overturned. Those basic ones, I do not believe they will get a stay in judgment. And therefore, that means that they ought to respect the court and pay the people the money and give them back the work. But that's our objective. Shut down.
All right. We should be joined by Councillor Jomo Thomas. Is he backstage, is it? No, okay, as soon as he comes, let me know, all right? So that we can bring him in and join the discussion. What about persons who are not affected by the vaccine mandates?
Well, look at it this way. And this is...
Okay, Councillor is backstage. Let's just finish making
this
a point.
This is our selling point. All of this started with an amendment to the Public Health Act. That amendment took away the option that Vincentian had to take any medical treatment. It took it away. So you didn't have that option again after the amendment. I can't recall the exact wording, but it took away that option and paved the way for the government to say, whatever outbreak we have, whatever the crisis is, they can mandate a certain medical treatment and you have to comply. You remember our Vincentian population was frightened that their children were going to be vaccinated. It stemmed out of the same amendment. This ruling, while it may not have touched on the amendment itself, this ruling would have brought some relief to the Vincentian population. It means, therefore, this is the first test of that amendment. It means, therefore, that really and truly, the government will think twice about imposing any medical treatment on any Vincentian without them agreeing to that. Okay. That's what it means.
Okay. Let's bring in Council Shady. Let's bring it in. Let's play his drop. Yeah, I'm sure you're joining the discussion that we have in here now. Let's go, Shady. Drop it in.
Plain talk. Plain talk with Jumo Thomas.
So much things to say right now.
All your talk now.
On OMG.
Good morning to you, Council.
Good morning, Bing.
Good morning. There's a feedback. Let me get Shady too. It should be okay now.
Good. Much better. Good morning, Shady. Good morning to your guests, Mr. Boucher. Most of all, good morning to your listeners. They're the ones who make this program so of fun. Boucher, you're on point this morning. Or you're firing on all cylinders, man. I'm really proud of your presentation. Very clear, very organized, very persuasive in my view, and I can see why the workers in the public service continue to elect you again. You are worthy representative of the people, and I want to thank you for bringing your members' case to Boom and to the general public. I don't need to go over anything that you have said because I didn't find any misstep in anything that you have said, and certainly deserving of clarity or further development. But I want to dwell on a point which I raised in the press conference on Friday, and I think that I was not sufficiently clear, and I want to try to clear that up this morning. In the press conference, we were dealing with the issue of the stay and what constitutes a stay and what does a stay mean. And we know that immediately after the order from Justice Henry in the vaccine mandate case 8 days ago, the government announced that it would be appealing the decision. The Prime Minister said the decision was wrong. And we were told that there are compelling reasons and there are high public interests. And the court would need to tell us or tell the state how it must respond in the event of an emergency. Well, first things first is that the state can't tell the government how to respond in an emergency. The Constitution makes provision under Section 17 for governments to invoke certain machinery to deal with an emergency. The second thing is that, as far as I am aware, there's really no compelling reason or no compelling public interest why the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines need to be appealing this decision. To the extent that there was public interest, that public interest died last Monday. Because what people really wanted to hear was what is the court's view on the action brought by the Public Service Union, the Teachers Union, the Police Welfare Association. Having heard that response, and having heard that response in such a definitive fashion, I think people who had been kind of wary are now settled in the opinion that what the government did was improper and wrong. If you listen to the government officials or those who have spoken, as Mr. Boucher correctly pointed out, there is not a single point of law on which they said the law and Justice Henry was wrong. And again, as Mr. Boucher said, it is difficult to do so in a context where all you have is her order and you don't have her reasoning as to how she arrived at the decisions that she arrived at. But from our side, we know the claims that we have been making. And as a consequence, and we know the law that we brought to bear on the claims that we were making. So when the judge agreed with us, we know that there was some legal basis upon which she agreed. On the issue of 8.1, 8.2, it said you had to do this, and if you don't do this, you are deemed to have. We know that in law, the government cannot establish persuasively to any court, any place in the world, that workers in St. Vincent abandon their jobs.
That's fine, that's fine.
On the issue of whether the Public Service Commission and the Public Service Police Commission acted slavishly in allowing the executive to control its business. There's no court in place in the world that would not agree that the Public Service Commission and the Police Service Commission act in a slavish, docile manner. In fact, as Justice Henry said, and as we pointed out in our submissions, on the face of the affidavits filed by PSC Chairman Stephen Williams and Police Commissioner John, they admitted what they did. They exercised no judgment, no nothing. In fact, when we were reading these affidavits, we wondered, wow, we wondered if these guys knew what they were saying. So on that basis, they are not going to be any overturning of the decision. So now to get to the point of the state, when a decision is rendered by a court, that decision becomes the law of the land. And that decision has import, as in the case of St. Vincent, it has import for across the countries of the OECS. And it is important and instructive for us to understand and to say clearly and boldly that Justice Henry's decision does not say that any government, any place in the OECS cannot enforce emergency powers. That's not what the decision says. The decision says, well, the order emanating from the decision says that what our government did was illegal, unconstitutional, ultra-virus, proportionally disproportionate, and procedurally improper. Those are terms of art. Those are terms of law. If you listen to them, you hear them say, oh, we were responding in a pandemic. Yeah. Sometimes you're driving down the road and somebody's driving wildly. It is not for you to stop in the middle of the road and say, oh my God, there was an emergency situation, I didn't know what to do. It is for you to use your best judgment, because in the end, the court is going, and again, I'm going to use another term of art. The government, the state is allowed to do what is reasonably required to protect the life and safety of citizens in a democratic society. It is what is reasonably required. It is not for you to run roughshod over the people. It is not for you to dictate to the people beyond what you need to dictate. It is what is reasonably required. And here's another term of art. The court says when you are restricting the rights of the people, you have to use it, particularly when you are assaulting their fundamental and constitutional rights, you have to use the least restrictive measures. You understand what I'm saying with you, Bing? the least restrictive methods. So, for example, instead of demanding that Boucher take a vaccine, you should say, Boucher, if you don't want to take the vaccine, we are going to send you on no-pay leave. Or we are going to retire you in the interest of the public. Or we are going to ask you to engage in vigorous testing. All of those are least restrictive measures, which according to them could have met the purpose that they wanted to. None of which, all of these were rejected. In fact, many of these were instituted in many other countries across the Caribbean because none of them, or the other countries, went to levels that the Caribbean Ayatollah Ralph Gonsalves decided to do when he went that way. So once they appealed, or once they announced their intention to appeal, I want to reiterate, because I heard you interrogating Boucher on this, the court order became the law of the land. It is the state that has to put its house in order to respond to what the court says. And the court said that these workers were, is, and remain employee of the state. And it is not the first time the state is saying that. In the Otto Sam case, which was 5-6 years ago, the court said Mr. Sam was, is, and remains an employee. Always was a teacher. And therefore the state had to pay him. And therefore the state has to respond to the order. So once the court rules, they have to respond. So they say they are going to appeal, and they also said that they are going to apply for a stay. But a stay is not an automatic thing. I'll give you an example in the criminal realm. Suppose I am convicted for whatever, and I am sentenced to a term of years in jail. And I appeal. Once I lodge the appeal, I can make an application to the court for bail pending appeal. But I can't just walk out of the prison having lodged the appeal. I have to wait on the court to tell me, yes, we are going to allow you bail pending appeal. Similarly, on this matter, where they apply for a stay, they can't just decide to be big and bad and bully and say, okay, you don't come in here, you go here, you stay off the job. They have to wait for the court to give the stay. And if the court does not give the stay, they have to carry out the order of the court. Where I heard on Friday, I think in my enthusiasm, it was clarified later, either in something I said by Ms. Barnwell, but I think I need to reiterate in the event that somebody heard me and didn't hear anything else. I think in my enthusiasm, I might say, well, if they don't get the stay, they can't pursue the appeal. That is not true. Even without the stay, they can still pursue the appeal. And it's interesting, though, that the government is taking this stance now, because you may recall, Prime Minister Gonsalves said to the workers, well, come back and work. That time he was trying to break the solidarity of the union. Come back and work. You are on your job. The case goes on. If the court rules in your favor, then you get all your back pay and everything else. Now they're singing a different song, and they want the workers to stay off the job. So they have to apply for a stay. We are going to vigorously oppose the stay so that all of these workers, all these monies that they have for workers, at least the workers will begin to get that so that they can begin to clean up the economic mess that the government has caused in their lives. But Big, I think we're at the top of the hour. I don't know if you want us to stop here. And then
not stop, but pause. Let's pause and bring a station and then come right back. Okay. All right, let's do this and come right back. Shirley, let's go.
The number one morning show in the SVG.
Morning.
OMG in the morning.
Come on now.
Just picking up the pieces from the puzzle of life on my journey. Man, I won't be a dog, me stand sturdy. Me no won't be a night, me no won't be a day. Only thing me worry about a feeling, lift up and watch it sailing, catch on the railing, cause them want to take me out. Have it when me being paranoid, me hardly raving, mount a youth in the graving from them this. Tell them me saving mount a title when me naming mount a title when me aiming from me make it count. Them say me change, you know, did that when it raining, man, did solid, no complaining when me heart it full of doubt. Some man a big and rat, some guy a mouse. Them a watch it cheese, pop and fly a guns. Me bad for real until them eye close. Me God so real, me keep my prayer close. How riches get a youth desire mouse. Get the buy a ounce, I light it up, the fiber bounce. Me know them not the ass, some guy a pounds. Me say they full up, me well want you try your downs. Pieces from the puzzle of life on my journey. Man, I want be a dark, me stand sturdy. Me no want be a night, me no want be a day. Hey, just picking up the pieces. Them not really love you, me know the street is. Them they with the neatest. Me no worry a night, me no worry a day. Hey,
Boom 1069. Come on. SBG's #1.
And we back inside. We got Mr. Boucher in studio, and we joined on the video link by Mr. Council Jomo Thomas as per usual. And I wanna, if you wanna get interactive with any of the guys in studio, you can call us at 451-1069. All right, 451-1069. Council, you can continue the point that you were making, please.
Yes, Bing. So, in light of all of that, I heard you asking Mr. Boucher why he did not engage the state authorities. It was for the state authorities to engage. And in fact, the unions did engage. What the union said was to declare to its workers that in keeping with the court's order, that they should report to work. That's the best form of engagement, because remember, the government passed this silly act, 81 and 82, of the SRNO, 28 of 2021, which essentially said that you shouldn't come to work, and if you are not in work for 10 days, then you are deemed to have abandoned your job. The court said, no, that's not the case. So the workers should go back to work, because this government is so cynical. Imagine workers didn't show up for 10 days and then they say, oh, but you abandoned your job. The court told you to come back to work and you didn't come back to work. So the unions engaged. The police officers showed up for work. The public workers showed up for work. The teachers showed up for work. And evidently, the government is so disdainful of the court, and there's historical record to show this, that they never even bother to prepare for the eventuality that this matter could go against them. Because they thought that they could make all of these emotive arguments. Oh, it's a pandemic, we were saving lives, people were being hospitalized, and they thought that was a basis upon which law is made. But emotions and emotional responses may be disproportionate. And indeed, the court found that they were disproportionate. Laws like SRNO 28 of 2021, particularly 81 and 82, could be illegal and void. And so the court said they were illegal and void. The COVID Miscellaneous Act of 2021, in an emotional response, could be usurping the authority of the legislature. And so the court found that it was usurping. So the court ruled on legal questions. So I can't wait. And we may know today what their grounds of appeal are. And we know as well that they have authority within which to amend their grounds sometime later. But it would be interesting for me to have a chance to put my eyes on the grounds. Yeah.
It's about, I want you to respond to what Council said, but we got a call on the line. Caller, good morning, your life.
Good morning, everyone. If the protest is not successful, in my opinion, the main reason why that would happen is because of the Mongoose gang element within the Royal St. Vincent Police Force, who might arrest, rough the people up and raid your house later on in the night. Got another question though. The judges, are they appointed by the prime ministers, the high court judges and so?
No, they're not. They are appointed by the Regional Judicial Service Commission.
Because there was some talk some time ago. I think, if my memory serves me right, there was a judge named Monica Joseph, and they made a decision against the NDP government, and then their contract wasn't renewed. And many people think the late PM Mitchell had something to do with that, and that's why I brought that.
But I am not sure about this, but I think, I mean, these judges are now on contract. They are, once they're made judges, they're made to serve unless they are found unfit to serve or unless they get to the requisite retirement age. I think in the case with Justice Joseph, who had served honorably, not only here, but across the OECS, I think she had retired and then they brought her back on contract, as happens from time to time. And once she made that ruling opposed to Mitchell and the NDP, they made the decision then not to renew her contract. I think that's the way it was. But I would do the investigation to find out more. If I'm wrong, I'll be sure to come back and tell you. But as it stands now, this government cannot, there's not a contract for Justice Henry that she has to renew it. And therefore they can get out.
All right, 4511069, that's the number. Mr. Boucher, let me get you respond to what Council would have said this morning.
But I'm in agreement with everything he has said. And it's interesting that our lawyers have a very clear-eyed view of this whole matter. Juma was the one who keep insisting that this was going to be ruled unconstitutional from the beginning. When we went to the lawyers to have this matter addressed, he said what they did was unconstitutional. So they had that particular confidence, and I must put a plug in it because it's really some remarkable lawyers that we have. And I guess by now the whole of St. Vincent would have heard about Cara Shillingford, Ewart Lee, Juma Thomas, Zita Barnwell, Israel Bruce. A wonderful bunch of men and women who managed this case and instill some confidence in the union executives and the members.
All right, let's talk about your event today. Let me see if I can get Council to comment on this event today as well. Council, you heard that the unions have got an event today. Just articulate some more for me, please, Mr. Boucher, about this event today.
Well, we have a picket that should be starting at midday in front of the financial complex. And I want to make this point. The unions are taking this action under the Trade Union Act. The Trade Union Act gave trade unions the ability, the power, the authority to protest literally anywhere the employer is. So if the employer resides in his home and we have to go up to GAS to stand up outside with some placard, you normally see that overseas and thing too. That act gave us that authority to do that. So the last time we had these issues with the police, I mentioned there's the Trade Union Act. We are operating under that. And I was told, well, which one comes first? The Trade Union Act or the Public Order Act? That is beside the point. The unions have been given authority under the Trade Union Act. It's specific to trade unions. They can protest wherever. There is no restrictions on where and when and how they can take these type of actions.
So in other words, today you're going to go in front of the financial complex. Next week you can go in front of the courthouse.
Right. So if Parliament is being held?
Yes, when I say courthouse, Parliament, in front of the Parliament building.
And we are not authorized. There's nothing that says, well, you need to ask permission or to give a notice. The Trade Union Act is quite clear. It seems that everybody just leave it alone because everybody talk about the Public Order Act. But there's this act that governs how the trade union operates.
And what about this thing where the police and the government say, well, you must be 100 yards away? What about that?
So that's why I'm saying this act, in my mind, is what we are operating by, and it directs us how to operate. It doesn't mention any 200 yards. It says wherever the employer is, even if they are in their homes, you can go and stand and protest. So if the 9 parliamentarians, the 9 cabinet of ministers who are making these decisions goes to parliament, if they go to parliament, that's where they are. So we want them to see and to receive the message that we are sending. So we go in front of parliament, around the market, and we do our picketing. Put up a placard so that they can see it clearly. That's legal within that particular piece of legislation.
Council, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I think that Mr. Boucher is absolutely right. This whole idea where the authorities may be asking which comes first, the Trade Union Act or the Public Order Act, as Mr. Boucher correctly said, it matters not. If you have 2 pieces of legislation that are perceived to be in contradiction, if the government don't think that we should have a Trade Union Act which says that, it could attempt to amend the act and restrict the rights of workers. Or it could strengthen the act and give workers even more rights. It could give workers rights as include compulsory recognition and so on and so forth. Because, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have atrocious labor laws. We have labor laws that says that an employer can fire you, and then even if you were to win the case, the employer has to decide whether he has a place to put you back. Clearly, that is onerous. And even when you get fired after offering some of your best years with the employer, you can't get compensation for damages because of our act our legislation is so weak. So there's that one point in terms of the Public Order Act versus the Trade Union Act. But in addition to that, the Public Order Act speaks to time, place, and manner restrictions, right? But that is only in a case if your protest is going to be so boisterous, so noisy, that you are going to affect the proper official proceeding which is taking place. But you can't say you're not holding the act because you believe the teachers union or the public service union is going to hold a boisterous protest. If they're acting in a way that is disruptive, too noisy, for example, the authorities could intervene and say, look, I think your volume here is too high. Maybe you need to drop. Like sometimes the Noise Act, police may come by and say, Mr. Joseph, I know you're celebrating your 21st birthday, and I know you're having a good time, but I think it's now past 11 o'clock. We ask that you turn your music down, right? It's the same thing. And the whole notion that of 100 feet away, 100 feet away is to the extent they may ask you to go back if you're being boisterous, if you're being noisy, but if you're there in quiet protest, in fact, you're there in symbolic speech, no to the appeal. Gonzalez government is too evil and wicked. Away with these oppressive actions on the part of the government. So you have symbolic speech. Why is it required that you have to move, or why would it be required that you have to go 100 feet away? And it goes to the point where the authorities tend to misuse the law when it suits its purpose, because this same government that controls the state in St. Vincent now, there are pictures. I mean, I could send you pictures of their supporters in the parliament, in the courtyard, accosting parliamentarians, jeering them, talking inside the courtyard. Now they're saying you can't even be. You have to be across the street. And when the workers wanted to have a demonstration last time, Gonzalez told them, well, you could gallop from Sion Hill to Annisville and back if you want, but you can't come into Kingston. What kind of autocratic, undemocratic, dictatorial policy is that in a democracy? So the workers are well within their rights to protest And I hope the workers are strengthened by the decision which Justice Henry gave last Monday, and they come out in their numbers. I have a trial today, but as soon as I get out, I intend to join them.
Both counsel and you, Mr. Bouch, and the question of you were supposed to go where your employer is. In this case, who would be your employer? Is it the Public Service Commission or the Prime Minister of the country, the government?
The commission, the state. But I just cite that. That is just one snippet of it.
Right.
Because it says
Right.
the message that we are sending today
Right.
is to the complex come as the seat of government.
Okay.
The Minister of Finance, they are the ones calling the shots now.
Right.
The people are to be paid. Minister of Finance is there. The Prime Minister says he's going to appeal. That's where his office is.
Okay.
So the message today is directed particularly to those ministers, finance, and the Prime Minister.
With regards to mobilization, how much mobilization was done for today's event activity and moving forward?
Right. So we're just getting started. And that is why I said we are starting today. So if, for example, we have, let's say 300 of the persons who have been affected coming out. 300. But those 300 can tag 2 others. That's 600. And so while we have not gone to the extent that we want to go in mobilizing, which we will eventually get there because we are putting things in place now to address all of that. But we are assured that even if it's just the persons who are affected and 2 or 3 others, that the turnout will be good. The public servants who are on the job, we are also asking them to come out. The beauty about an action of this nature, the only group of people who we would not address in this particular manner are those essential services. Because, as I said, those have to be given the notice within the law. We want to abide by the law because we are asking the government to abide by the law. So we can't be lawbreakers while we're asking them to abide by the law. So workers, and we have a right, we can call a strike action at any time. So we are asking those workers, leave your offices, come on the picket line. You have gone to work, we started at 12, leave your offices, come on the picket line. There really is, you're not breaking the law. You are acting within, following the instructions of a trade union. In fact, in the even though it was in the statutory body, the act that govern the private sector and those organizations specifically states that if you're taking action at the behest of your union, there can be no repercussions by the employer against you. They can nothing against
What
you.
about workers who are non-union workers?
Bing, just before Boucher answer, I want to weigh in on the point he makes about he's assuming that, let's say there are 300 workers. Assume there are 50 workers. That in no way take away from the victory of the workers in the court. Because people know that there's a very vindictive administration in power. And some of them may still want to shy away, although I think they should be hardened by this decision. So to me, the question is, who are the ones who are willing and ready to stand not only for their own humanity, but for the preservation of democracy and human rights and trade union rights. So whether it's 20 or 50 or 300, it seems to me that those people who come out would be the ones who are celebrating their victory and are being the shackles of fear being thrown off their backs and they're saying, I am out here to represent myself. I am out here to represent my union. I am out here to represent and defend democracy.
And you say?
Totally agree. Totally agree. The estimates that I'm giving out, Jom is right. So even if it's 50 or 60, whatever the numbers are, we are starting.
Right.
And we are confident it is going to build up because we have not really started the campaign to mobilize.
You've not gotten there yet.
We've not gotten there yet.
And workers who are not members of a union, what do you say to them?
If you're not, well, the public service union represents all public officers.
Okay, whether you pay your dues or not, you remember.
Whether you pay your dues or not.
Okay, and what about other unions? What response have you gotten from unions that have not been part of this struggle? Have they reached out to you? What's happening with that?
They have not. And I'll tell you this, Big. The workers there are some of them that were fired as a result of not being vaccinated. Interestingly, they don't fall under the mandate, but the authorities there at the tugboat, and you know those workers are those lower salaried workers, etc., etc., etc. So they were actually fired, and even when they were fired, the public service union represents some of them. We were told that we can't represent them because they are members of CTW. They came out and they joined the public service union. On an individual basis, we were representing their interests. The union that the tugboat was arguing that represented them, CTW, never put up a fight against what was done. Never put up a fight against what was done. These workers are fired for not being vaccinated. People who clean the streets in Kingston.
Yes, I remember that.
You understand? And CTW and Bonds Money, them never put up a fight. That alone answers the question that you're asking. These other unions have been silent. There's a deafening silence.
Why?
It could be, and I could only speculate that if they were to speak, then their self-interest comes under threat.
Aren't you all a member of a bigger trade union? And don't you all communicate with each other to find out, well, hey, guys, you're not saying anything. We have a fight going on. What's up?
Your attempt to communicate gets nowhere. There's the umbrella body, the National Trade Union Congress. That doesn't function. The Public Service Union Teachers Union have tried to get that going again because that is the body under which all of these would actually fall. And there has been a pushback against even reviving that. The person who, in the last 10 years, who have been heading that is Bonds Bonadi. You can't get them to even call the Congress to have an election. Joy Matthews is the General Secretary. She's nowhere inside. She doesn't belong to a trade union anymore, as far as I am aware. But they hold on to the reins such that you cannot move forward with that organization. So you can't even go to the NLC and say, well, this is an issue that is affecting the trade unions in St. Vincent. We need to do something about it. You can't even do that because you have attempted to do that and you have gotten nowhere.
Yes.
It is being held ransom by by Burns Bonadi and Joy Matthews because that's the President, General Secretary. 10 years. Those elections were supposed to happen 10 years ago.
Wow.
That is how serious that is. And I mean, it is quite clear. One may sit on a board, one may get a salary that doesn't work, but get a huge salary at the end of the month. Maybe they stand to lose all of that. I don't know. Perhaps. But the interest of the workers is not the interest that is foremost in their mind. Because when that vaccine mandate was handed down, you would have had all of those organizations coming on board to protest against an injustice done to workers. But you had a deafening silence.
Council? Council, we're not hearing you. I don't know. His what?
I was saying,
Yes,
I
okay,
was
go
I
ahead.
was saying that I heard everything that Mr. Boucher said, but in light of what has happened now, I think the leadership of the unions, Boucher, Robinson, and Prescott, should take a delegation to meet with both the leadership of the CTW and the NWM and try to engage in other forms of solidarity, because they may have thought then that this thing was hopeless. Remember, we had a case before in the court where the judge said the case was hopeless, and we went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal overturned that decision on a point of law. So it is your responsibility as a trade unionist, as a patriot, to continue working and not to give up your efforts in working. But I have to leave because I have a trial this morning.
Okay. You've gone past your time. I appreciate
yes,
you sticking around to chat a bit with Mr. Boucher as well.
Until we meet again.
That will be tomorrow morning. Catch you tomorrow morning, Council. Thank you very much.
Very well. Sure.
Mr. Boucher, I know you're going to stick around. We've got another segment coming up, but I don't know what's your time will be. Let's take a quick break and come right back, and we'll have that discussion off here. All right, let's do this and come back.
Hola, amigos! The awesome family circus comes to SVG. Bring the whole
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metrosint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company.
Celebrating Heritage Month with 10% off all vinyl flooring and free shipping during the month of March. Vinyl flooring is beautiful, versatile, water resistant, and durable. Vinyl flooring, ideal for commercial and office buildings. It's the most affordable flooring and so easy to install that you can do it yourself. Find the District Stairs on Instagram, Facebook, or districtstairs.com or WhatsApp 289-2007-649. At District Stairs, you'll find vinyl flooring that's suitable for every room in the home. Thinking of winning the Lotto jackpot? Well, there is an easy way. Combo Play. Choose 4 numbers from 1 to 36. That's a combo 4 at a cost of $64. Match any 4 of the 5 numbers and
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts have motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, you know. I purchased 2 bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon. This is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Easter is coming, and that means it's time to do some spring cleaning. It's time to upgrade and refresh your home today and save up to 30% off store-wide. Change off that old lounge chair, dining room table, or any furniture item now and save big. Plus, shop our large selection of appliances, televisions, and
mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper. Sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer.
You're on your way. Flow Fast Pay.
Flow is keeping you connected.
The Patriot Company Limited. With services like terrazzo construction, terrazzo restoration, terrazzo maintenance, concrete grinding.
Discover new Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste. New Guinness Smooth.
Kingstown, VC0100. Or you can contact us at 457-6650 or 457-2057. Or email the Patriot Company Limited at gmail.com or ncjackson4753@gmail.com. The Patriot Company Limited. Service at its best.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
It's your home and business
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metrosint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company.
Gmail.com. With Sheriff, no mission is impossible.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
They're smooth.
And then there's Guinness Smooth.
It's a brand new cool.
Incredibly smooth.
Perfectly balanced.
For a smooth.
Everybody with big speakers like Curtis King, Keisal Peters, Camilo, Saboto, and Comrade Ralphie. How will we get there? By car, van, truck, bike, boat, plane, donkey, spaceship. Transportation is free. And why? Because greatness must be celebrated.
Keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning.
And we party with the biggest stars. Hyper 4000, Sonny Banks, Chanel McKenzie, Rollo, Joanna, DJ Eminem, and DJ Donovan with the Fireman Hooper.
Fire, we want the whole place smash up as we waiting on you.
Gabby out of Barbados, Logic from Trinidad, and Nyla Blackman and Skinny Fabulous together for the first time in SVG. Oh, and one final thing, we're wearing red.
Home 1069.
When you're ready, man. Mr. Boucher is still with us, but we got the most love man coming up next. He will be joined Mr. Boucher is now in the studio, that is, and Mr. Weeks will be joining us. So let's do this and come right back with Mr. Weeks.
When you ready with the man, the iron and the man where they can go from. It's a vibes in the section when we jam into the steel bun. Come on, join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. It's a party in the engine room. In the engine room we go jam it steady. In the engine room we go get on massive. In the meantime, why don't you join the line, grab your bottle and spoon, and come let we party in the engine room. Ooh, yeah. Well, how else we will survive if we don't create the vibes? This is a big part of the life, so soca must live and never die. In this party atmosphere, so sweet that I can't describe. So all the artists you must be here, cause without an engine, can't start, so we gotta die. No oxygen tank, we got dipsy dive, so we got to come together and try to find a way, find a way. No more hide down thing, we gotta unify. Let them keep the money, we not taking back. They go come run me down when you see them. Get this song when you're ready. Rhythm and the iron and the man will become go down. In the engine, it's a vibe in the section when we come into the steel bun. In the engine, come on, join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. It's a party in the engine room. In the engine room we go jam it steady. In the engine room we go get on massive. In the meantime, why don't you join the line, grab your bottle and spoon, and come let we party in the engine room.
Time to connect with the most loved man on radio. Sir Lancelot is in the building.
That music. It's now time for the most loved man on radio. Mr. Weeks should be joining us now. Let me let you know that tomorrow we will have as our special guest in joining us would be Mr. Bones, Joseph Bones Bonelli. He is president of the
General Secretary of CTW,
General Secretary
of the NLC, National Labour Congress.
National Labour Congress and National Workers Movement.
Right.
Over
10 years.
Over 10 years. He will be joining us tomorrow morning, and we will discuss some of what you said.
Yep.
Yes. I think we have on the line Mr. the most loved man, my friend, your friend, Mr. Weeks on the line. Good morning to you, Mr. Weeks.
Good morning, Mr. Joseph.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good. It's amazing how you would be on radio all morning. That like
and then when you come on, man. You see, I won't tell you why. Shady, tell him why. Tell him why, Shady.
I gotta come through.
Yeah, but you told him so since morning.
Yeah, get your coffee.
Tell him I got coffee from home.
I have to tell you the same thing.
Okay. Louise just brought me coffee to drink, so I'm drinking coffee.
Hi, Louise. Good morning.
Yes. And we have in studio Mr. Boucher as well to Mr. Weeks.
Morning, Brother President.
Good morning, Brother Weeks.
That is union language. Brother President.
And Brother Weeks, yeah.
And Brother Weeks.
So you're telling Boucher and the President of the public that he doesn't see me as his brother? You're only saying that because...
Well, no, of course not.
Maybe because I did to mediate, so I don't know. Mr. Weeks is Mr. Boucher is Mr. Weeks your brother?
Of course he is. Listen, Mr. Weeks have left his mark on the union. He's one of the many past presidents that I often tell people, when you look at the caliber of persons we have had leading the public service union, then we have something to be proud of. I mean, you have really had some good people, who quite recognize and have led the public service union. That should really encourage that very fact should encourage people to just want to join the union.
Okay.
And Weeks is one of them. People like Weeks, Bassi, Bernard Morgan. I mean, reputable.
Right. Mr. Weeks, and you say to that?
Can you permit me first to say good morning to Shady and to greet your listeners. Thanks for the compliment, Boucher. Thanks for being so kind. this conversation thing, I would have preferred to have it on the flow of me on the floor and president at the head table.
Oh, yeah.
At the
So
headquarters.
we're going to have a union meeting here now. Let's go. I love that. Let's go. OMG style, OMG.
Mr. Weeks, you can be critical, you know. I mean, positive criticism is always welcome.
Critical analysis.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
we
yes,
and
yes.
you know, we have to, in order for us to really grow, we have to welcome all of those things.
But last week, Mr. Weeks was one of the persons who was holding up the unions. He was one of the persons who was there pushing up the unions and lifting up the unions.
Yeah. Well.
I noticed you made the headlines, Bing.
Me? Where was that? And I always in people mouth, you know, if that's what it means to me, you know.
Yeah. But I listened to the discussion this morning. I listened to some excerpts from a press conference that was held sometime last week. And there's some observations that I made. And as I say, I would have preferred to have these discussions in the confines of a general meeting. But notwithstanding, I don't even get notices to these.
Well, Mr. Weeks, you have the president here now, so there we go.
Anymore. Hold on.
Mr. Weeks and I have a way, okay? Mr. Weeks and I have our thing, okay?
Then you're talking trade union move business now. And
Okay.
trade union is about win-win. So
Right.
you don't try to set up a man up ship kind of discussion here. It's a win-win. The first observation I made, other than this executive, I can't remember in our history when we, as a union, will have a press conference and we will have lawyers or a lawyer leading the press conference. See, as an executive of a union, as a president, you have to understand the issue sufficiently to be able to speak to your members on it. And it was quite noticeable this time around when we had the law firm that includes Mr. Thomas, in a way, leading the press. That's my observation. I didn't listen to the press conference, but the way it is reported in the press, that's what I observe. Here, why this is dangerous. We have a situation where the union is dealing with a matter that is, and those who want to know the fact, they just are their own peril. But this is a matter that is very divisive in the public and in our membership. And we are using a lawyer. I'm not talking about representing the union here now, but to speak publicly on behalf of the union. A lawyer who clearly has an axe to grind with the ruling party that is in government.
This is very interesting.
A lawyer who, between 2005 and 2010, 14 made some scathing attacks on the government, including making the point that the leader of that party is the biggest liability to the party and the government. Subsequently, when, for whatever reason, joined the party, contested elections under that leader, nominated and elected to serve as Speaker of the House, and when they fell out and he left again, the attack on the government got worse. I am not questioning his right to do that. I'm not questioning that he do that. But I'm saying all of that to say that our union has a very diverse membership. Some support the government, the ruling party, and its leader. I am tempted to say violently. And there are those who oppose just the same. Union and unionism is about solidarity. It's about getting your membership on board. And I don't know if the current leadership of the union thinks that they will get the majority of the membership on board with Mr. Thomas out front. I don't know. I listened to, as I said, excerpts from a press conference. And here, a lawyer who just won a case on procedural matters, among other things. He just won a case on the basis that the government did not follow the proper procedure. And the same lawyer is advising my union to take action that is not guided by procedure. What I mean by this, our union has a history of representing our members who have been interdicted for one reason or the other. Sometimes the matter goes to open courts. Sometimes the matter goes to the administrative procedures in the public service, meaning goes to the Public Service Commission. Well, it starts at the CPO's office, goes to the Public Service Commission, and at the appeals, go to the appeals level. We have done that. We have a history of doing that. But at the end of that process, procedure is followed as to how the interdicted worker is reinstated, is put back on the job. And I don't know how a union that has just won, had a major victory on one of the limbs being procedure, and then you're going to uphold chaos, even with the history of dealing with matters like this. I don't understand that. I believe that our union is going to be successful at the end of the day. I believe that our members and the public servants who have been wronged are going to find justice. And justice means that they will be compensated. And they will be compensated for being off the job today. But why are we going to instruct them? It's not the role of the union to organize work. It's the role of the employer to organize work. So how are we going to instruct them against what we normally do as a union? And especially in this case, where it is a large number of employees to be reinstated. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then we come to the issue of the appeal. I criticize the haste in which the announcement was made. As somebody who dealt with these matters in the past, I think it is usually best to see the judgment so you can decide on the grounds of your appeal before you make such an announcement. But our union, the lawyer representing our union, has said before the ruling and subsequent to the ruling that he will appeal the case. But yet, our union is objecting to the other side appeal in the matter. You see, this is not a simple matter that workers were dismissed following the wrong procedure. It's a matter that goes to the heart of the way we make laws, how we make laws, and what goes into the law. And as I have said before, when the courts, whether it is our local court, the regional court, or the Privy Council in London, well, when it gets to the Privy Council, it becomes final. But when the courts are making law, we have to make sure that the law they're making is proper. And therefore, I don't have a problem with the government appealing the matter per se. Because as Brother President said, there are matters that, and I take the same stance like this, there are matters that I will not pronounce on because they're highly technical, highly legal arguments, and I will not pronounce on them. And therefore, I don't know whether when they go to a higher panel of judges, an expanded panel of judges, whether the lower decision would be overturned. I believe that there are points that definitely the union and the workers are going to win on. They're going to be successful on. But I can't say that they're going to be successful on all 13 points. And as a state, we have to make sure that these matters, if they are wrong in law, that they do not become law. I believe there's a win-win situation here to be had. That the government, that the workers should be invited to take up their position. They can't be done in chaos. It can't be done in confusion. Trade unionism has evolved, has gone past that. It can't be the knocking and turning over of tables anymore. It is about engagement. It is about, and to say, well, the government is wrong and you're doing the same thing the government, and therefore you will not get the support of those who support the government. We can't be on the right and use that to weaken the union. And this is the kind of argument the kind of discussion I will love to have on the union floor. Our president served our union for 2 years, in my opinion, illegally. An election was conducted that went against the rules that were put in place by this president. It was conducted wrongly. I never heard by the president. Well, I don't know if he did it at a general meeting, because as I said, I don't get notices for the general meeting. So I haven't attended one in many years. I don't know if he apologized. But having heard about it, I suspect that the responsible thing that our president would have done was to go back to the resolutions that I made a reference to, or the person made reference to. And he must have seen that the election was conducted wrongly. It violated the rules of the union that he had in place. Then those are my comments for this morning.
All right, Mr. Boucher, I needed to respond. Should we take the top? Should we take the top and come back and have Mr. Boucher respond to Mr. Weeks? Give his comments on what Mr. Weeks would have said. Mr. Weeks, stay put. Let's go to the top, Shady, and come right back. It's
the number one morning show in the SVG.
Morning.
OMG in the morning.
Come on now.
I've been patient and I've been waiting. Call me stubborn, but I can get over it. You left and never say goodbye. Those tears I cried, no, I can get over it.
So don't you ever let me down again. Cause I'm depending on you, so you better come through this time. Please hear my cry, and if I ever let you down, my friend, it was a misunderstanding. So I can't take you for granted. But I promise not to I go jump like I never jump, wave like I never wave, wild like I never went before, just to show you I'm sorry, and I need you back in my life. Look up people by the truck, emotions running high, we end up in the sky, just running down we high. Can't you tell that we're sorry, and we need you back in we life. I need my girl back home. Come on to me, come on to me. It's on no place like you. Come on to me. This is my apology. Follow me, come and see what you mean to honor me. You're a treasure in my eyes, the greatest pleasure in my life. Oh, cause when you left it, bother me. Honestly, hurry please, home is where the heart should be. Pretty feathers in disguise, not together we will rise. Oh, so don't you ever.
1069.
Shady boy, you're preparing for Sunday, buddy. You're preparing. We've still got Mr. Weeks on the line, and Mr. Boucher, president of the Public Service Union, is in studio with us. Mr. Boucher, you have any comments or response to what Mr. Weeks would have said a while ago? Go ahead.
Well, let me start by at the back end of what he said.
Right.
If Mr. Weeks has voiced his opinion regarding the union's election, that's an opinion. It's your opinion, and I'm not even going to debate your opinion. I do not share that view. I don't conduct elections. There are independent committees that do that sort of stuff. If you feel that your opinion is grounded in fact or evidence, then you do what everybody else would normally do. Contest it. Or do whatever you have to do. But I don't share those opinions. Okay? Because I happen to think that you are dead wrong. And I'm not going to litigate that particular matter on air. That's one. The issue of how we manage within the leadership of a trade union, how you did things many, many, many moons ago, and how many of the other trade union leaders did things. Things are done differently now. And I've learned, you take things that you think you can use, you can build on, and you incorporate it with other things that you yourself have learned in gaining your experience abroad, regionally, and internationally. When we have press conferences and we think we need the lawyer to speak to matters of the law, we're not lawyers. We ask them to be there. We deal with certain aspect of the trade union work, and we ask the lawyer to respond to certain things has to do with law. That press conference was about the vaccine mandate and the ruling. And therefore, it is fitting for us. When I say us, I mean us as a public service union and the teachers union and the police welfare association jointly to have the lawyers speak to the issue of the decision in law. There are certain decisions handed down by the court that I will speak to because it is very clear to me. I'm familiar with the laws. I know what they say. I know when there's a breach, etc., etc. And that is why I said from the beginning, when the court pronounced on the issue of whether the minister made the laws constitutionally or unconstitutional, and the court said it was unconstitutional, I will not speak to that because that goes a bit deeper. Allow the lawyers to speak to that. The very basic things that I know and I have knowledge about, and I'm very familiar with the public service regulations, natural justice, those things I can clearly see and see that they are correct in what the judge has said. That is why I can speak confidently that regardless of what is overturned or not overturned, those aspects will not be. But it's our right to bring whoever we have as our legal advisors to speak to matters of the law. Things, Mr. Weeks, and that is the thing that I often see with you. Things will not always be done the way you think it ought to be done. And the way you are saying it ought to be done may not be the best way for it to be done. In my mind, I make assessment and I analyze all of these things just like you may want to analyze them. But I can't say that you are doing a better job than I am in analyzing them. I have a view on how these things should proceed. And I'm confident in the position taken with respect to the public service union at all times in dealing with these matters. I review them in my mind. And we have, listen, one of the judges in the industrial court in Trinidad is somebody that I tap into from time to time. They have experience. She used to be a general secretary for the main public sector trade union, one of the trade unions NUGFW in Trinidad. She has now moved on to be a judge at the industrial court. Whenever I have an issue that I need advice on, I tap into her. There are people around the region that we tap into. I don't know if back in those days, the previous leaders had those sort of connections, network. Things are different. And we also understand that dialogue is extremely important. Extremely important. But when you have parties that do not want to engage in dialogue, it's a different kettle of fish. There has to be different ways and strategies of achieving what you want to achieve. Now, I heard we say, well, you have Jomo speaking on behalf of the unions, and how are you going to attract people to give support who might be on the other side? Listen, you see that view? I rubbish those views. People have to put their interests first. This mandate have affected Labour, NDP, and nobody, no party. I've seen Labour families, strong Labour families, economically destroyed. What are you going to tell me? Because Jomo is out front and he criticizes the government, you're going to take a decision that you're not going to support your own interests? What type of intention is that? We are proud people. And it is time enough that we stop thinking along those lines. I get tired of hearing about this this partisan politics. Because I don't care who the hell the government is. People need to put their interests first. Politicians put their interests first. And their interest is staying in power every 5 years. I have seen that. The previous government tried to get rid of pensions. They didn't care who it affected. The people rose up, and Weeks was among the persons who rose up. This current government is doing even worse than that. They have economically assassinated over 500 persons. So tell me, what are people supposed to do? Study their party versus their own interests? The country was paralyzed with fright when these laws were passed, because they were looking at their children being vaccinated against their will with a vaccine that they were not sure about. They panicked. Nobody studying politics then, no? People panic. And if they were studying politics, why is there 28% of the country vaccinated? Why don't they take the vaccine because of their party? Why not? Because there comes a time when you set aside party and you consider your interests and your own survival, because they are only there for a time. Regardless of who that party is, they are only there for a time. When the court pronounced on these laws, and the court said, quite interestingly, the extra penalty to prevent such breach of people's rights and the Constitution, that spans beyond this government. This is for any other government, any government. We could be fighting these issues with any government. To hell with the politics. I'm tired of hearing of it. I'm tired of hearing who criticize government and who will not support. It is time enough. We're done with that and realize that we have to take up our bed and walk. We have to fight for our rights. If we sit down, our rights will be trampled by any government. You give them the opportunity. Trust me, you give them the opportunity. Their survival every 5 years is what is most important to them. Any government across the world, if it's a 5-year term, their survival for 5 years is what is most important to them, so that they get another 5 years. It is not our interests. The people who have been hurt in this country support all the parties, and the very party that they support hurt them, because their interest is not paramount. So please, I get kind of worked up on these issues because I'm tired of hearing about this politics and this criticism of government and who is not going to support. Tired of hearing it. We should be encouraging our people to stand firm and make decisions, proper decisions in their interest, regardless of what a political party says. Don't sell our souls to a party. Love your country more than your party. Come on. Enough of this.
Mr. Weeks?
I don't know who that rant was directed to, Bing. All I am saying, all I said, and I will not get worked up, all I said is that we have a man whose life is spent, cannot have a conversation without it going to Ras Gonsalves. But the public listens to him. That's not just my opinion. That's a fact. That we have a man who spends his life attacking verbally Ras Gonsalves. That's all I'm saying. I am saying we have to try to get as many of our members as possible to support the union and support the actions of the union. And I have made one observation of something that I believe some of our members will see as a reason for them not to support the union. I don't know. That's all I am saying. What that rant was about.
Yeah. You call it a rant. Mr. Weeks, you call it a rant.
Hold on, sir. Hold on.
That is how I feel about this passionately.
Hold on now. I listen to you.
Well, you asked a question. I have to answer you.
Go ahead and answer the question.
No, I say you asked a question. I have to answer you. What you're calling a rant is the passion I feel in responding to what you have said. Don't misrepresent my passion. You understand? Because I could have simply said, Mr. Weeks, that you are talking rubbish. I could have said that, but I want to respect your opinion because you're giving an opinion. And I kindly said I didn't agree with it, and I proceeded to explain the reasons why I do not agree with it. The issues that you raise are things that I hear from time to time, and it's not the majority. Okay?
You think the majority of people speak to you?
They don't speak to you for sure. I can tell you that.
Of course
they don't. But I have
hardly anybody speak to me.
I don't know if anybody hardly speak to you. I know you are one time you are here, the next time you are there. Sometimes you know somebody said
that's what you see, my brother, when you don't follow or you don't agree with my line.
No, well, I don't follow at times because trust me, if I tell you, I try to live quite a positive life, and sometimes it doesn't make sense that I listen to certain things.
Right.
It doesn't, because I mean I don't agree with your position.
So when I say that there are persons who are listening to us this morning, who listen to us here on Boom every morning, and who hear Mr. Thomas' presentation every morning, and see his writing in the newspaper every week, who's going to make the point that why this man, all he does is to criticize the government? That means that I'm here and I'm there and I'm everywhere.
Jomo have
for you, my brother.
No, Jomo I have followed Jomo's writing for some time now, and all of the points Jomo have written on, they have been on point. And listen, I have always said, if a government works on the behalf of workers, to the extent that you can recognize that, the unions become a friend of the government. If a government doesn't do that, then the government sees the union as its enemy. At the early stages of this government, the union was a friend of the government. I know because I was a part of it. I was involved in the relationship with the Prime Minister and the government and how we approach things. Those that we have literally veered away from that. The government have veered away from that. all of the cases that we have brought against the government, we have brought those cases and won every one of them. And we have seen no positive response, even in light of those cases. The case against the Public Service Commission, not one thing stated in that judgment, and there's no stay on that judgment. They have appealed. There's no stay. Not one thing stated in that judgment was implemented. Not one. Jamali case from Union Island. Listen, I have a record of their attitude towards workers, especially public servants. So whatever Jomo wrote, he has been on point. And if people want to say because he's criticized, if there's nothing to criticize, then he may be writing very differently. But these are things he is privy to because he is our lawyer, one. He has taken some of these cases to court, so he knows what is happening.
As I said at the beginning, I wish this discussion was taking place in a general meeting where you could have heard other views, my brother. It is my view versus yours. I know in this forum you have the majority support.
I don't have much.
I know those who are responding and who will respond to here, the majority of them will support you. I am aware of that. And that's why I say I would have preferred, because I have attended meetings of our union and I know the kind of discussion that takes place there. And I know there are persons who can be irrational and persons who can make comments that are not critical, not important to the point that is being discussed. But one thing I know, in our union, we have some brilliant persons who can rationalize things. And if they come to meeting, they come prepared to speak. It is that have our union surviving 80 years, longer than any political party. I have stuck with our union when I disagreed, for example, with a president taking the union to court, having an injunction. I mean, this is not germane to the matter that is being discussed. But I'm saying it to make the point that I support our union 100%. I never left it. I followed it. And with respect to the issue of election, I don't have it in my hand now, but there are two resolutions that were passed in our union. One of them said the union must have its elections before the general meeting. In the term before this one, you did it the other way around. You were a sponsor of that resolution. You either proposed it or you supported it. I don't remember the order now. Both of them. So it's not my opinion, it's factual.
Well, bring the resolution.
It is in writing.
No, I haven't seen it. Bring it.
It is strange that you don't remember. Well,
no, I haven't seen the resolution. If you have that resolution, Mr. Weeks, send us a copy. I don't have no problem with that. Send us a copy. If there's such a resolution that it must be adhered to. There's a lot of resolutions that were passed, and actually somehow they were not registered or they can't be located. So I know a lot of changes were actually made, but there is no record of them because I've heard of many. So if you have one that was done, signed and everything, and it's legit, bring it. We have a duty to comply with whatever the law is regarding the constitution of the union. So I don't have an issue with that. My main focus here this morning, Weeks, is the suffering of all of those workers. That's my main focus. I feel their pain. I don't know if you feel their pain too, but I feel their pain. Their suffering is what I'm concerned about. I've seen their pain. I've seen their tears, and I've heard their voices in anguish. And when I see that, I could only pray about it.
I feel the pain, my brother, and that's why I will always suggest that we do things in a way that will ease the pain of these workers in the shortest possible time.
Which is what the government should do to take the workers back. They should, and you make, and I searched my mind, you make this point that the procedures, when the court make a ruling and the government does nothing about it, you sit back and you wait on the government. Give them a chance. They do nothing about it. We have had that experience. Absolutely nothing. The government does nothing about it. The court rule, the workers never left their job. Well, hey, if I never leave my job, I should be back on the job. You understand?
You don't need to repeat that, my brother.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you are not in support of us instructing the workers to return to work.
Because it doesn't help their cause. Did it?
Mr. Weeks,
of course it helped their cause.
Hold on, Mr. Boucher. Mr. Weeks, your position on the workers going back to work, is it procedural, or is it that you're downright opposed to the workers going back to work?
No. If I had my way, the workers would be back on the job in the shortest possible time. If I had my way, if I were in a position to advise the workers, most of them would have been back on the job already.
Because last week when you spoke on the issue, your position was the way in which it was done, and you articulated how, in your opinion, it should have been done, where there should have been dialogue with the government before instructing the workers to go back to work. Am I correct?
That's how it is always done. We are not short on experience. We are not short on history. We know how it is done.
And Mr. Boucher, what do you say?
I do not agree with that position. I've said before, I think the government, a responsible government, would look at a case. They know, and I heard Dr. Gonzalez made references to this particular ruling even before it came out. Well, you all have this ruling. We have the court ruling coming out. So, let's wait and see. So you're making preparation for a ruling. And if you are in a responsible manner making preparation for a ruling, you must anticipate that if the case goes against you, this is what you're going to have to do. Why is it that a ruling has been handed down, a decision handed down, and you are caught flat-footed? Because in some cases you say, oh, but there's no vacancy. Sometimes some of the people who went back to work were actually told there's no vacancy.
There's a lot of people who are speaking out of turn.
You understand?
A lot of people were speaking out of turn.
How are you going to know that?
But the people who are telling you that, they don't know that. They don't have the responsibility to put back anybody on the job.
But I'm agreeing with you. They don't have that responsibility. The Attorney General seems to have taken charge of this whole matter. And the Attorney General
is the chief legal advisor to the government. By the way, who are the respondents in this matter, my brother?
The Attorney General is one of them.
Who are the others?
The Public Service Commission and the Minister of Health.
Okay.
Police Commissioner. And the court instructed the Public Service Commission.
No,
Who hires unarmed fires? Who is supposed to
thing to do?
Who is supposed to re-employ them?
Huh?
who is supposed to take them back?
The commission.
Exactly. So that's just why I say the Attorney General is instructing them, but in my mind, the body responsible for speaking to this matter is the Public Service Commission. The Attorney General can't hire
The Attorney
anybody.
General instructed them.
Because that is
It's
what...
not my experience that the Attorney General instruct anybody. The Attorney General, the Attorney General advises, which is their responsibility. Advise government.
Well, they follow the advice.
Which
The
you have
permanent
a
secretaries
legal
have followed
duty
the
to do.
advice of the Attorney General.
Which you have a legal duty to do.
And in no way in this whole arrangement you're hearing anything from the Service Commission. So the Attorney General
Have you
knows.
contacted them?
I have to speak to them. They know they are responsible.
They know.
Of course they
It's
know
not a
that.
responsibility to represent the workers, my brother. And that's what I'm saying to you. That we have a history as a union of engaging, dialoguing on behalf of our members.
So we've been down that road already. Yeah.
That's what we do as a union. That's why we are strong. Because in most instances, we as a union know the procedures, know the laws, better than some of them who are administering it. And therefore, that's why we always have to engage them, to point them to the law, point them to the procedure, to the benefit of our members.
All of these instructions, the reality, what I know as a reality, nobody move unless the cabinet of ministers instruct them to. And that is one of the reasons why
Focus too much on the cabinet.
I don't have to focus. That is the reality.
You
don't have to.
haven't
You could have-
heard.
you could have known that.
In all this public discussion, I've not heard anybody. Sorry, I take that back. The focus of the public comments are not directed. They were directed in the case because the case could not go forward. But in the public discussion, the focus is not on the respondent. Those who have the legal responsibility, those who have the legal authority, we take the pressure off of them.
So Weeks, tell me why the commission is not obeying the ruling. There's no stay on it. Tell me why.
I don't know that they're not obeying it.
Are they obeying it?
I don't know.
Has anybody gone back to work?
But you expect the workers to go back to work in one day, in one week?
Has anybody at all, anybody, even where there are vacancies, has anybody gone back?
Right about you know the commission has to meet. And that's the problem I have. You're in the system. You're a very senior officer in the system. You know how the system works.
Okay, Mr. Weeks, do your wrapping up?
Thank you,
do your wrapping up, please. Make your final comments, and we'll have
My
get a
final
end of
comment
this segment.
is
Yes,
thank you for having me. Thanks.
that's it.
Yes.
All right, catch you on Thursday morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Weeks.
All the best.
Yeah, you
Have a
wanna
good week.
wrap up on what Mr. Weeks would have said? Not the wrap of your segment, but this segment of the program.
I'm just saying, Bing. We can't bury our heads in the sand. I'm a realist. I know what happens in this country. I know who make things happen, who move things, who they have to wait on to get anything going. When we were talking about the teachers,
Caller, just a minute, please. Hold on.
When we were talking about the teachers in the first instance going back to work, reapplying, who spoke about it first? Was it the Service Commission? It was not. It was the Prime Minister.
All right, let's get in a call. Caller, good morning. You're on with Mr. Boucher, President of the Public Service Union.
Hi, good morning. Just listening to the program. This is really a hard thing because when you think about the persons who are responsible to reinstate these people and the way how they're treating these public service workers. I mean, how could you feel comfortable when the night comes, you go to your bed, you go to sleep, you wake up in the morning, you can go to your fridge, you can open up your fridge, you can take whatever from your fridge, you can go out, you can drive your car, and you have your own people suffer. Yo, man, this is coldness, man. These people are cold. Set the people free, man. Let the people go, man. Let the people go and work and own their living, man. Come on, man. This is heartless, man. How could we have a leader that say he cares for his people and cheating his people like this? This is terrible, man. At the end of the day, we are all intentions. Come on, people, man. Let the people go, man. Set the people free. Let the people own their living, man. And Bill will say, man, I can see whenever you talk about this, you have a passion for this, man. I can see it hurts you, bro. Yo, free the people. Free the people, man.
Thank you, caller. Mr. Boucher?
Yeah, thank you, caller. And caller, just yourself and others, just encourage others to come out and join the protests at midday in front of the complex. It is the one singular issue that we are driving simply because of what hundreds of public officers are going through. Hundreds of them. People cannot meet their needs. Listen, there is 3 basic needs. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Those who does management and have done management. Food, shelter, and clothing. This particular legislation and what the government did have taken that away from workers. Food, they struggle to meet those needs. And their shelter, they have no income. And I'm talking, listen, there are some people who would have gotten by because they explore alternative avenues. But there are persons who are lower salaried workers, like cleaners in the school and cooks and things. Yo, I don't know what those people actually went through. You know, the challenge they have. You understand? They may not have been able to do what some of the others did. That's why all they could do is cry, the pain, the anguish. That is what we're talking about. So when you hear me talk about this, you know, I'm talking about what people have, what I know people have experienced, and I don't have an answer for them. It is the state that have put them through this. So tell me, sit down and wait until the service commissioner, whomever say, oh, come back. Oh, well, because it is a difficult thing to get everybody back into work now. You know what you did. You know there was going to be a ruling and a people-centered government who cares about its people would have made the necessary arrangements. And I don't understand. The same government who started to... I actually had some praises for the government when they started to take the people back. But you're taking them back and now the quotas rule, you give the appearance as if you are opposing that. The only issue you should have here is their payments, not taking them back, because you already started doing that. But because perhaps you were taking them back selectively, you have the power to do that. Now that the court have ordered all of them to be reinstated, not even reinstated, they never left the job, down to the smallest man who suffered. Come on.
Mr. Boucher, I know you're passionate about this issue, so let's wrap up and tell us about the activities. Well, you said it's going to be a series of activities beginning today. Tell us more about these activities. I want to say before you start, though, that unions generally lost the win. I want to say the win was knocked out of the union after 2002. And for a number of times, the unions have called out its members, and we see low turnout. How is this one going to be different? What can you say to your members and to other people to see if this one is going to be different?
It is time for workers in general, and the people of the country to stand in solidarity with those workers.
And let me say before you continue, Mr. Weeks said something which is truly I believe is correct, that union members are members of political parties, and sometimes they decide to go
with their party.
With their party.
Being, that is something that we have recognized, and we have tried different methods, different strategies to address that. And I have reached the conclusion that people have to come to that realization themselves. They have to see where they are in the scheme of things. They have to see how things is affecting them as it regards to their allegiance to a particular political party versus looking out for their own rights. I have heard strong labor supporters, even of recent times, who are doing some activity with respect to the NIS issue and informing workers. And I've heard strong supporters of the party say, listen, that is my interest, it is my retirement, and no political party I support is going to stand in the way. Strong supporters. So people are coming around. And we just need that movement to be a bit swifter so that people can realize it is time enough, as Vince mentioned. We look out for each other. We stand in solidarity. And we fight against injustices. Everybody who have been fired knows somebody. And everybody would know somebody who have been fired and would know what they have gone through. The nurse who comes to the hospital, who used to be a sister, and come to the hospital every Thursday and sell little food to try and make a living. Everybody knows her at the hospital. They know that she comes around. The person who tried to do a little catering now and then and go around and sell grung nuts. They know that person. They don't know where they used to work. And they know what have happened to them. They didn't do that to themselves. That was done to them. And now the court have pronounced and say they were treated unfairly. We have to stand and support all of those persons. We have in a church service either Thursday or some other time, because we recognize, of course, that while the workers were going through this ordeal, people were praying, and they were praying fervently. And it is our belief that God would have intervened because he saw the suffering of his own people. So there's a church service coming up this week in which we're going to give back God that praise and that recognition for the divine intervention. Following the protests, we are going to meet back as a group and decide on further activities. But I assure you, there will be further industrial action. But we have to do our PR work properly. We have to try and get as many persons as possible within the Vincent community, the groups, to give support. The regional bodies, we're going to also write to the regional bodies and see if they themselves can write to the government and try and influence what the government is doing. As I've said, the issue with the appeal, government have the right to appeal. But I'm confident that the aspect of the appeal that speaks to their dismissal, that would not be overturned. So even while they are implementing the ruling, taking the workers back, as they should, proceed with your appeal. I understand the thinking behind that aspect of the minister on making laws. So if they want to address that issue, but that is not going to affect the other things because they can stand by themselves. That is my view. Put the workers back to work. Pay them their money. People have not paid their mortgages in a year. And the banks have been patient. A lady called just recently and said she have to answer the bank by this month, March. So this ruling came in a timely manner. And think about all the back interest. Who pays that? Because you're not paying and the interest accumulates. It's devastating.
Someone is asking online about the protest action today, and tomorrow is Parliament. Why today and not tomorrow at the Parliament?
At the time that the decision was made, we were not aware that Parliament was going to be held on Tuesday? And that is the short answer to that. It was raised last night, and I think today we'll have further discussion on it. But we mentioned last night in a meeting that is Parliament is on Tuesday, and we also think that it should be extended to tomorrow. But I'm sure that later today that will be decided on at the function this afternoon.
Okay. And today's protest action is a combination of the Public Service Union, the Teachers Union,
the
and
Public
police
Service Union,
and police welfare,
and hopefully the police welfare. You know that the police cannot strike, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So there has to be a different arrangement where the police is really concerned. But today's mainly the Public Service Union and the Teachers Unions. All the persons in the offices join us at lunch. Join us during your lunch. Stay the afternoon, if you so wish. But just let us be there at around 12 o'clock, just before 12, and let us send that strong message that we stand in support of all of those families that have been suffering for the past 14, 12, 16 months.
There are persons who may be skeptical, don't want to use the word afraid, to come out to protest because of what they would have seen happen in the past. To other persons who have protest, they're afraid that the police may come and round them up, and they're very concerned about themselves and their family if they're to be locked up and all of that. What do you say to that?
And those fears are real. But if we were to look at even what the police and the state authorities did, I'm of the view that they were wrong. But if you were to look at those happenings, you would notice that most of those protests, all of them, had to do with some political something.
Okay.
You have never had a case where the unions have come out to demonstrate and they have been locked up.
Okay.
And I say, I don't know, because we are operating under the Trade Union Act. So it is not a political event. It is a bona fide trade union event.
Okay.
And the law is on our side when trade unions decide to take this sort of action. We're not going to be disruptive. We're not going to wage war. It is going to be a peaceful picketing, a peaceful demonstration to send this particular message that the workers, that aspect of the ruling need to be adhered to, and the workers return to their job and their benefits paid.
Okay, this is the final caller. Good morning. You're live with Mr. Boucher, President of the Public Service Union.
Good day, Brother Bing, and I will go day, Boucher. And just want to say, Brother Bing, we've been in this struggle. We've been hearing Hamilton voice every day, but not doing the right thing. I just want to say something. I'm not here to be critical or disrespect Mr. Boucher. All I want to say is that currently, what has happened with Mr. Gonsalves is not illegal. Any side could actually appeal the case. In fact, in New York, when you had the judge send back the workers, literally, you can't go back until the appeal. And so, for me, I'm not here to give credence to Mr. Gonsalves. I am saying is that we are going a dead end. The reality, the real reason why people across the world, only 20-something percent have been sanctioned, because it is not safe. And we have to, even if the Constitution say it gives them the right, nobody would put something in the vein. Mr. Boucher, you all are going to lose again, just like how for 22 years you have failed. Tell the world that the workers here and the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines, we believe that there must be some way, something to stop the virus. But you cannot give people something that is not safe. And if you're not telling the world that the safety issue, and you deal on the safety issue, you will run yourself into the rock. Please do not carry people's children to the ground, to the walk, because Mr. Gonsalves did not do anything.
Thank you.
It is time. God bless you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Your response was...
And that this case being did not address the issue of vaccine efficacy or anything that has to do with whether you should take a vaccine or you shouldn't. That is people's right.
Yes.
Like I say, I did that and it's my choice, and I have no issue with making that choice. So I'm not gonna get into a debate with Hamilton or whomever else whether you should do that or what it does to you. Let the science and the people deal with that.
One Aubrey Bogan is saying, Mr. Boucher, what is the role of the NLC in all of this? I know we just spoke to that, but could you respond to Mr. Bogan?
The NLC is the umbrella body that, in a case like this, we should be able to write to the NLC and have a meeting to get, and they can actually lead the charge with the other unions involved in addressing this particular issue, because it is broad across. It affects all workers. So it is not just public service union workers. It's police, and it's even the private sector. The NLC becomes handy in that regard. The umbrella body that takes on issues that affect across the trade unions. So they will, at times in other countries, they would have taken the lead. The NLC in negotiations, like in some countries, when you're negotiating, you don't go individually. You go under the umbrella of the national organization where all of the unions are, right, and a delegation go representing everybody. The failure of the NLC to function is creating that gap, that hole, that there can't be that intervention. So they might have been making an intervention to the government on behalf of the other unions, as opposed to unions individually making it.
Okay. Well, tomorrow we'll have Mr. Bones Bonady joining us tomorrow to hear his and his union's position and all that. Mr. Boucher, I want to thank you very much for dropping in this morning, and best of luck on your event today. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Shady.
What? The Unity Labour Party is celebrating 22 years in government with the biggest rally and the biggest party of 2023. When? This Sunday, March 26th from 5:30 p.m. We're at the E.T. Joshua Runway, North End, Honorsville. Who's coming? Just about everybody. With big speakers like Curtis King, Keesal Peters, Camilo Saboto, and Comrade Ralphie. How will we get there? By car, van, truck, bike, boat, plane, donkey, spaceship. Transportation is free.
You pay nothing down. Get flexible payment terms, fast approval, and convenient hassle-free service. Don't hesitate. Apply today at www.readyfinancecaribbean.com or call 493-3840. Quartz Ready Cash Small Business Loans. Every day, we help businesses succeed.
The National Lotteries Authority introduces the Lotto app for all Android and iPhones. Your free download available at nlasvg.com. Whether at home, work, or simply having fun, get all NLA game results at your fingertips. View all draws of the National Lotteries Authority on your handset or tablet with the user-friendly Lotto app. Download today at nlasvg.com. The Lotto app.
Hola, amigos! The Awesome Family Circus comes to SVG. Bring the whole family to the Victoria Park on the Easter weekend for 4 spectacular shows on Sunday, April 8th at 6 p.m. Then on Sunday, April 9th, also at 6 p.m. And on Monday, April 10th, get ready for 2 massive shows. Starting time 5 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. featuring the world's famous circus performers. Come and enjoy great family entertainment with clowns, magicians, acrobats, and much, much more. It's the Awesome Family Circus, sponsored by Vitamol, the NLA, in collaboration with Easy Bake, Island Sips, Coca-Cola, Digicel, and Ticket Pal.
Easter is coming, and that means it's time to do some spring cleaning. It's time to upgrade and refresh your home today and save up to 30% off store-wide. Change off that old lounge chair, dining room table, or any furniture item now and save big. Plus, shop our large selection of appliances, televisions, and electronics for the biggest deals. No cash, no problem. Shop with Quartz Ready Finance and pay $0 for 30 days. And before you check out, don't forget to add extended warranty with our Quartz Super Shield.
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metrosint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company.
With you. It's probably not what you expected from a bank, but we're not just any bank. We're the People's Bank.
St. Vincent Cooperative Bank.
Your penny bank, and so much more. For more information, call us at 456.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts of motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, you know. I purchased 2 bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon. This is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company. Call us today at 784-456-1821 or email us at metrosint@vincisurf.com.
So fast pay, a new and easy way to pay. So fast pay.
Oh, 1 mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper. Sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer.
And if by chance you find a better price, no stress. Just talk to the
Discover new Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste. New Guinness Smooth.
Shopping at General Hardware is a pleasant experience with friendly, knowledgeable staff always ready to serve. What more could you wish for, huh? So come to
10% off all vinyl flooring and free shipping during the month of March. Vinyl flooring is beautiful, versatile, water resistant, and durable. Vinyl flooring, ideal for commercial and office buildings. It's the most affordable flooring and so easy to install that you can do it yourself. Find District Stairs on Instagram, Facebook, or districtstairs.com or WhatsApp 289-2007-649. At District Stairs, you'll find vinyl flooring that's suitable for every room in the home.
Guess who's back? Back again. Ace March Mania is back. It's an entire month of freeness at any Ace location. Buy 3 items and get 1 free.
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metrosint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company.
With the biggest rally and the biggest party of 2023. One, this Sunday, March 26th from 5:30 p.m. We're at the E.T. Joshua Runway, North End, Honorsville. Who's coming? Just about everybody. With big speakers like Curtis King, Keesal Peters, Camilo, Saboto, and Comrade Ralphie. How will we get there? By car, van, truck, bike, boat, plane, donkey, spaceship. Transportation is free. And why? Because greatness must be celebrated.
Keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning.
And we party with the biggest stars. Hyper 4000, Sonny Banks, Chanel McKenzie, Rollo, Joanna, DJ Eminem, DJ Donovan with the Fireman Hooper.
Fire, we want the whole place smash up as we waiting on you.
Gabby out of Barbados, Logic from Trinidad, and Nyla Blackman and Skinny Fabulous together for the first time in SVG. Oh, and one final thing, we're wearing red.
The number one morning show in the SVG.
Morning.
OMG in the morning.
Come on now. Alright then. Father got you among my friends, please. Because we don't know all my enemies. I the one them will stand right beside you. And I want to soak you like them a lead. So me ask God to protect me head in the streets at night. And all of my enemies, yes, Father God, please shine them a light. Oh, Father God, yeah. So guide me from them bad mind people. The ones them way I promise even. Take them away, yeah. Away, yeah.
1069.
You know, Shady, from the comments I'm seeing online here, I know a lot of people have been waiting and anticipating Dr. Richards joining us this morning. He was absent for most of last week because he had some functions, a workshop that he's been involved in, and he's also, again, taken up this morning. So he won't be with us this morning. I'm not sure if he will be, if that will continue to tomorrow morning. But unfortunately, for those of you who've been waiting, longing to see and to hear Dr. Richards, he won't be with us this morning, as I would have announced earlier on. All right? Now, I have some friends who are in our WhatsApp chat group, some red people. I ain't going to call the name. I think you guys know them already. Some red fellas. Because they hear the Labour ad, they're saying that lunch is on me this week. They hear the Labour ad. These red people, these red-skinned fellas, because they know how much red-skinned people they pay. Right?
So I had a charge from my accounts. And
they want me to take them to the big name restaurants because they hear the Labour ad. Well, boy, from where I know them red-skinned people, only tell the big red skin man, piss them out now. Piss them out. I'm gonna fly you all out. Canna one, we coming. Like the one red skin man who went to Canna one. and you didn't tell us any woman went Canawan, I will taking you all to Canawan private jet. I don't call you Redskin big man. Good lad. Hey, listen, it's been a great morning. I want to thank you all. But before I go, let me just tell you something before you go. Before we go, that is, not you, Shady. The sound of passion, the sound of music, the sound of street, the sound of greatness. Monday, July 10, 2023. Guinness Posse return. Please enjoy Guinness responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to enjoy Guinness Posse. Yeah. In case you didn't know, crawl out from underneath the rock because you can win more and save more when you sign up for Flow Internet. Get the super fast 250 megabytes package for only $100. That's $20 saving every month, plus a chance to win your share of $30,000 cash and prizes weekly. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, Flow keeping you connected. Why not? Hey, listen, at TLC Nursing Home, they are on a mission to top quality nursing care, support and comfort for the one, for you and the ones you love. Their competent and qualified staff takes time to get to know each resident, tailoring the care they provide to suit each individual person. Their residential care is for older people who are finding it increasingly difficult to manage at home without additional help and support. They also offer all these cares in a professional way. They have spacious single, double, and triple rooms available at affordable and competitive prices for full-time and short-time stay residents. They do daily programs from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., which includes arts and craft, reading, and Bible study, chit-chats and discussion, exercise, and outing. They also provide meals. Find them today in Lower Kingston Park or call them at 491-8276. Or you can drop them an email at tlcnursingHome1@gmail.com. That's tlcnursingHome1@gmail.com. Or why not just call them 491-8276. Yeah, remember, TLC Nursing Home, compassion is at the heart of their care. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hang on. I know. Like, final one. Well, no, not the final one. Hey, have you been seeking a place to get your manicures, pedicures, and waxing service done? Why not check out Beautyonics, located in Camden Park, opposite the Brewery of Standards building on the basketball court stretch. They offer gel structured manicures, gel pedicures, gel extension manicures, gel pedicures, spa pedicures, regular pedicures, body waxing, which includes full face, armpit, genital, and legs, eyebrow shaping, eyebrow waxing and tinting. They offer these services at an affordable cost that will fit your budget. Book your appointment today. You can contact them on Facebook or on Instagram at Beautyolics. That's at Beautyolics. Or you can call them, give them a call at 527-2033. Pick up that phone right now and start dialing this number. 527-2033. Yeah? And they've got special service being done by professionals. Yeah? And you can relax and have these highly trained professionals do their do, all right? They're looking forward to serving you in any area of your service that you selected. Can't wait to serve you, they say. Yeah? Beautyonics! Check them out. Let me tell you about this place. We're still waiting to have these guys come in the studio one morning and give us some sample, all right? Visit the Health Bar St. Vincent, #1 source for premium supplements and vitamins, gym accessories, gluten-free and health food, and delicious smoothies. They've got the list of them. Slim Fast products, Nike women items, and 10% off all scented candles. The Health Bar is also the home of Smoothie Juice Bar in Kingston, where you can grab your healthy smoothie, protein bar, coffee, and juice. I'm going to tell you something about coffee just now, right? Call them today, right now. Pick up the phone, start dialing 432-5841. That's 432-5841. What's the number I just called today?
432 5841.
Okay, say it again.
432 5841.
Thank you very much. That's my shady day. Or you can drop them an email at thehealthbarsvg@gmail.com. What's the email address?
You just said it.
You repeat it for me. You repeat it for me.
I can't see in front of
You see why it is? You see why you have to bring people at the front of the class? You see why? thehealthbarsvg@gmail.com. Or you can follow them on Instagram at thehealthbar_svg. Instagram is what?
thehealthbar_.
Thank you very much, lady. Healthbar for the healthy. And speaking about coffee, I saw a man went into my office from in here. Look at the monitor and you see. I say, I hope it's my coffee that he promised that he brought from Canada. I hope
another red guy.
Another red man. I hope it's the other red man brought the coffee from Canada. So I went in, Shady. If it's the little bag of coffee, smaller than the size of my phone. He boasting to me every day. He boasting. I got coffee for you. I said, don't tell me this coffee is like Jesus Christ. It coming every day. Coming. Yeah. If it's a little bag of coffee, but I appreciate you, Mario. I appreciate you for bringing me coffee. You're a trooper. You know what I mean? A good guy for bringing me coffee. When that coffee done, I know we got to start over by the good guy part. All right. Don't be like Shady. Shady promised us lobster and conchs from the Union Island Conchs Festival 3 weeks ago.
You get me for the week out.
And this morning, he said, I got it, but it ain't clean yet. Jesus. When he get it clean, he go and say, I need to scald it. I ain't scald it yet. I have no hot water. But we're waiting. He said before the week is finished. All right. Thank you, Louise, for bringing me coffee this morning. Listen, when I came in here this morning, I was like, I'm on my face. Oh, gosh, I need some coffee. She turned up with a yellow. You ever see? People who talking about my red glasses. You ever see coffee with yellow cover? Yellow cover. So because I have on my red glasses, she brought coffee with yellow cover. Them Mitchells, You can't get it from them, but I'm sure she went, I want a coffee, but it must be yellow. It must have something yellow. And there you go. Mitchells. James Mitchell's daughter. Yeah. Guys, have yourself a great one. Tomorrow morning, we will have with us as our special guest, Mr. Joseph Bones Bonnaby. All right. He will give the other side. You heard Mr. Boucher spoke about him, called his name. You heard his name called. You heard the National Labour Congress. They mentioned Rasbo did it. Yeah. Asked about the role of the National Labour Congress. Well, Mr. Joseph Bones Bonnaby will be with us tomorrow morning. And he will tell us why the National Labour Congress is silent. What's the role of the National Labour Congress with all this vaccine mandates? What they think about the ruling handed down by the learned judge, Justice Escrow Henry. He will tell us why did they not come out, why they gone quiet and all that and more. You don't want to miss tomorrow morning's program. It will be another exciting one. You see what we do on the OMG. We bring you the facts straight from the source. So this morning we had one side. Tomorrow morning we'll get the other side from the National Labour Congress. We'll hear what they have to say. And they will answer the questions that have been asked by many people. Why are they quiet? What's their role? And all of that. We get Mr. Joseph Bones Bonnaby with us tomorrow morning. Until tomorrow morning, we're going to catch you then.
We are the trending station. We are the trending station.
Me say action movie. You don't know it go. Boom, 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 boom.
Home 106.9.